So you're in your feminine energy when everything is going really good. Your man is treating you like a princess, work and business is going really well, you're stress-free, so it's easy, right? What about when things don't seem to be going your way? You start complaining. But men don't respond to complaining, and neither does life. What if I told you I had a proven system to stay in your feminine energy even when things get a bit rocky? Because let's be honest, it is going to happen. But if you keep switching into your masculine energy, every time you feel triggered, you're never gonna get anywhere. I'll be sharing my proven system in this video, but it's important that you watch until the very end or you'll start complaining it didn't work. Okay, so why do we drop our feminine energy in the first place? As soon as we start liking a man, as soon as something goes wrong, as soon as we feel some sort of betrayal, all of a sudden our softness has exited the building. Because any circumstance that causes an emotion creates this instinctual need for protection. All of the circumstances I just described, all are things that are going to create some sort of emotional stirrup, and that emotional stirrup is gonna trigger your need to protect yourself. So when you're at your baseline, whether that's feeling happy, content, you're feeling peaceful, or gratitude, you are operating from a easy flow state type of place. And in that flow state, we are tapped into our feminine energy, and it feels easier for us to be more vulnerable and take away that guard. So we're at our baseline, but the moment an uncomfortable emotion pops up, our instinctual need to protect comes in, and the energy that protects is masculine. So there are two areas of focus that it is so important you master staying in your feminine energy so that you can live life very happily and freely and in the flow state all the time. The first, obviously, is dating. This is the area of life that women struggle the most to master their feminine energy in, as well as staying in their feminine energy. Here's a typical scenario. You start dating a man, you've gone on like 5 or 6 dates with him, and you start developing a little feeling, right? You're not even feeling, there's interest there, there's intrigue. You're feeling like, this could be a potential guy for me. He's checking a lot of boxes. So naturally, those feelings start to develop a little bit. Now, one day you're texting as normal, but he's seeming a little distant. He's seeming a little off, and you're picking up on the energy because us women, we can pick up on that, right? So we're picking up on the energy, and it's just feeling a little weird and uncomfortable for you. So think about what your response would be. Would you A, call him out and be like, hey, I'm feeling a little bit of distance, like what's going on? Are you okay? I need more than this. You can't just go off the map. Or option B, do you just leave it? Do you just pull your energy back a little and leave it? If you went with option A, you've jumped right back into masculine mode. Now let me explain why. In this moment, you feel uncomfortable with your vulnerability. You feel unsafe, and you feel like this man is playing you out. You have now just gone to your back closet and picked up your armor. You've picked up your shield because now you don't feel safe without it. Now you feel like you're in a moment of unsafety. You're in this very vulnerable, raw state that this man could just up and leave, and that doesn't feel safe to you. I want you to think of your masculine energy as armor. So picture your masculine energy as this palm that encompasses your entire being. Nothing can penetrate this when the guard is up, when the shield is up. There's resistance, there's blockages. Feminine flow is, now this is gonna be a bit vulgar, stay with me. The feminine has no guard. The energy, the flow, goes right through with zero resistance because there's no blockage. There's nothing stopping the flow from getting through. Most women will pick up their armor to protect themselves in situations with men where they don't feel like they are in a good spot, right? Whenever he distances himself, armor is going back up. If he doesn't text you in the time frame that you find appropriate, the armor goes back up. You feel you're getting played. Again, this is all trauma that you have to deal with on your own, and it is not baggage that can be taken into healthy relationships, because as soon as your triggers start coming up, you're gonna just automatically and instinctively pick up your armor, pick up your shield, and now you're entering nagging mode. Now you're entering complaining mode, and nothing is going to get through to you, and nothing is going to come out of you. So what you're trying to say with the intention that you are holding within you is not gonna be received properly. It's not gonna get through your shield. So now you've cut off flow, and your feminine energy has dropped, where now you're trying to mold a situation from a place of anger, irritation, nagging, annoyance, complaining, rather than remaining true to your vulnerability and holding yourself in that vulnerable space and expressing how you feel. When you start raising your voice, when you start complaining and swearing, all out of protection for yourself, you have just erased that beautiful, cozy, feminine, soft, warm space that you just created in your feminine flow, in your feminine energy. So how do you stay in your feminine energy in dating? You need to work on your emotional health. And there are 3 ways I'm going to teach you how to work on your emotional health. But truly, this is the key to it all. You cannot have healthy relationships with men, with people in general. You cannot stay in your feminine energy if you're constantly getting triggered and letting your emotions run you wild. You're like, woo, where are you going? Where are you taking me? And then you're just like following the anger. Okay, we're going there. Oh, okay, we're going this way. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be draining. Okay, more than it's gonna be chaotic, it's gonna be draining for you. The first thing that is an absolute non-negotiable is having a hobby, because channeling your energy, whatever state it is, if it's angry, if it's irritation, if it's annoyance, if you're feeling anxious, you channel it into something creative that helps enhance and nurture that feminine energy, because feminine energy is creative energy, and it gives you something to do and occupy your mind rather than creating fictional stories about this man, that he's cheating and he likes somebody else and that you're not good enough and all of these crazy rabbit holes women tend to go down. So you need to be focused on a hobby. With that being said, today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. Shout out to Skillshare. I am currently using Skillshare to learn how to take my video editing to the next level with their learning path, Level Up Your Video Editing with Adobe. Obviously, you know, creating content, or if you didn't know, creating content is my full-time job. So it's so important for me to constantly level up my skills and get better at what I'm doing. And I always say that learning a high income skill is one of the best things you can do for yourself right now in 2024 and beyond, because everything is online. And video editing is one of those skills, so I'm super happy that I found a class that's gonna help me get started. Adobe Premiere Pro is like the big daddy of video editing, so that's a little intimidating. However, I do find it very helpful that Skillshare has their learning paths organized step by step so that you can go in as a beginner and leave as like a pro. I don't think I'll be a pro, but I know that this class will be very helpful to at least learn like the basics and all of that kind of stuff. I know this class specifically, it's broken down in specific sections so you don't get overwhelmed, like learning how to do closed captions or certain keyboard cuts. If you know video editing, keyboard cuts help the process like speed up a little bit. So I love that because it's so much easier to digest and then apply right after. Honestly, there is no excuses to not have a hobby when you have Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest online learning community, thousands of classes led by industry pros across design, film, art, crafts, all that kind of stuff. With Skillshare, you will not feel overwhelmed starting a new hobby like most people do. Skillshare makes it so easy with their learning paths. Everything is organized for you step by step. To get started today, use a link in my description box. The first 500 people will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So again, that link is in my description box, and thank you again, Skillshare, for sponsoring today's video. The second is regulate. You just need a quick formula, a step-by-step process that you can follow whenever you feel triggered to help you get back to focus, remain centered, and just remember who you are. Of course, I have the formula for you, so here we go. The first is to notice the thoughts, what thoughts are coming up, what stories are coming up, what beliefs are popping up in this situation, and then changing them. So let's continue on with the example scenario that I gave you. You're texting this guy who you've gone on 5 or 6 dates with, you're feeling a little some type of way about him, and now he's gone a bit distant and you're like, what the heck is happening? You need to ask yourself, what are you telling yourself about the situation? What thoughts are coming up? Are you thinking he's playing games, that he's found someone better, he's disrespecting you, like how could he, my time is precious, you can't be out here disrespecting me? Are you telling yourself maybe he'll ghost you? This always happens to me. So all of the things that we start telling ourselves in moments where we feel vulnerable, like somebody's about to just take our heart and just stomp on it, we are gonna pull past stories, past beliefs, past evidence to help confirm why this is probably going to happen again. So if you got ghosted before, you're probably going to pull evidence from that, 2010 memory and bring it to this present day. Be like, well, it happened back then. It'll probably happen again because this always happens to me. You need to take "this always happens to me" out of your vocabulary right now, today. No longer are you allowed to say, "this always happens to me," because when you say and confirm "this always happens to me," it's going to continue to happen to you. Step number 2 is to go back into the body. Feminine energy is all body based. As soon as we get triggered, as soon as the masculine shield comes back on, we leave the body and we go right back into the head, because the head, the ego, is going to get into protection mode. It is going to start telling you things in order for you to protect yourself. It's going to say, just leave. It's going to say, text him. It's going to say, go get answers. It's going to say whatever it feels like it needs to say to you in order for you to take action on protection mode. So you have to slow down, not letting the racing thoughts control you and take you from your body to your head. You want to continue to stay in your body, but you want to breathe through the feelings you're feeling. Feel where you're feeling this trigger. Are you feeling it in your chest? Are you feeling it in your throat? Are you feeling a pit in your stomach? For me, I always get butterflies or like knots in my stomach. So you sit there, you put your hand there and you breathe through it. You feel through it, and then you send love to that area where you're feeling uncomfortable, where you're feeling anxiety. Remember, we learned in this video that you are in a healthy relationship with your emotions. You talk to them. You ask them how they're doing, why they've come up, what's the visit? Why are you here? We're not letting these emotions come up and then tell us what we need to do. Anger is gonna pop up and say you need to go into fight mode and you need to go annihilate that person with your words. Then you go do that and then it feels good, but now you feel regret. That is elementary school style living. We like to consciously live. It's not about not feeling anything. It's about regulating your emotional process, how you deal with things when you get an emotion. Now, step number 3 is finishing it all off with a self-care practice. Go for a walk, call a friend, do your paint by numbers. The hobby that you need to be doing, do your hobby, watch some TV, have a girl bath, get some wine, get some candles, put some really nice music on, soak, sit, really take time for yourself in this moment. This process is training you to self-soothe, because these types of hiccups are going to happen in dating. But if you get crazy and dysregulated and out of pocket and out of sorts every single time a guy pulls back a little bit, gets a little distant, he doesn't show up the exact same way every single day like clockwork, maybe he's going through something but it's translating to you in a different way, you are going to constantly play this battle with yourself. It is going to eat you alive. Why self-soothing and regulation is the key to staying in your feminine energy is because you take yourself out of the situation, you regulate yourself, you're back to baseline. Now when this guy does come back, you can have a conversation and you can communicate from a place of softness and calm and detachment and neutrality, instead of raising your voice, elevating and acting on those uncomfortable emotions that he has triggered within you. But it's going to be relayed to him through softness, through vulnerability, the language that he will understand. And from that point, his response is going to be exactly what you want. It is going to change. His actions will change based on how you have delivered the thing that you feel needs to change a little bit. The softness brings him closer, the yelling and the masculine shield pushes him further. You want to communicate from a place that is going to be heard, understood, and acted on, rather than a place that is going to be tolerated and dismissed. A lot of women are in relationships where they are just tolerated. You don't want to be somebody who is just tolerated, okay? You want to be loved, and you can only stay in your feminine energy if you have this regulation process down pat. And I've just given you the entire formula, so I don't want to hear no excuses, okay, about why you're acting crazy out here in these streets. And the third focus for building your emotional health is building self-trust, developing your feminine intuition. When we don't trust ourselves, we hyper-focus on trusting somebody else. When we don't trust ourselves, we put so much trust in another human being that we don't want them to fail. So now we don't want their behavior to tint our perception of them. So we focus on controlling their every move. I don't want you going out late because then that is going to signal to me that you don't respect me. And now if you don't respect me, then I am burdened with this choice of, do I leave you or do I stay with you? Do you actually love me or do you not love me? And I don't want to be burdened with that. So you need to show up perfectly in my life so that I can just feel good. I can trust you because I need to trust you because I don't trust myself. When you don't trust yourself, you don't ever want to be put in a position with somebody where you have to now choose yourself or them. Because when you don't trust yourself, when you don't love yourself, you are always going to choose somebody else. And the reason why this is so, obviously we know this is so unhealthy, you cannot put that burden on somebody else to be perfect in your life because you don't trust yourself. You have to build self-trust with yourself so that you can discern who is right for you and who is wrong for you. But more than that, trust that you will walk away when somebody isn't showing up the way that you want them to. Then you won't control their behavior, you'll just leave. So you build trust by daily habits. You show up when you say you're gonna show up to something. You keep promises to yourself and to other people. You hold yourself accountable. Sometimes it can be tricky. We have moments where it's like, I don't wanna do this, and you can give into that. That's totally fine. But there are some things which I'm gonna get into in just a second that need to be non-negotiables for you so that you can build that trust with yourself. And the other thing about building trust with your intuition and listening to it is to meditate, one, but two, make decisions for yourself. Stop asking people what picture to post on Instagram. Stop asking people if your hair looks good and if they like it this way. Stop asking people if your clothes look nice and if they like that shirt on you. Stop asking people about the daily decisions you need to make in your life, because the more you outsource your decision making, the more you are gonna feel like you can't do it yourself. It's a skill that has to be built. The more you practice them, the more momentum you build, the more you say, hey, I made that decision and it turned out really well. Or hey, I made that decision for myself. Maybe it wasn't the best decision, but I still made it and I can still take accountability for that choice. But again, the world did not end, so it's okay. Whenever you go to people for advice, for decision making, they are giving you a decision not based on what is best for you. Seldom is it coming from a place that is best for you. It's coming from their own view of the world, their own specific lens that they are viewing the world from. It is always a decision subconsciously motivated through their personal bias. So how do you stay in your feminine energy now in all aspects of your life, right? Work, and then every other area of your life. You design your life with intention. What I mean by this is flowing in and out of your masculine energy at your will. So not unconsciously just jumping into masculine energy out of protection, but to decide, I need to exert my masculine energy today for this work project. I need to exert my masculine energy today for this piece of discipline that I need. I need to get to the gym. I'm doing a 30-day challenge. That is my masculine energy and it's coming in hot for that challenge. You have to decide consciously where and when you use your masculine energy. Otherwise, it will dominate you and you will constantly be flowing into masculine energy without your consent. We don't want to continuously flow in and out of our masculine energy without our consent, especially when we don't want to harness our masculine energy. So you have to design your life specifically to know that this is when I use masculine energy and this is the rest of my life where I'm in feminine energy. On average, a female has 70% feminine energy and 30% masculine energy. We are balanced, fluid beings, and we all have these energy states. I am talking specifically for women who watch this channel who resonate with that ratio and with that balance. So for that ratio of energy distribution, you would feel most free and comfortable and at ease spending your life 70% in your feminine energy. That's on a daily basis and in all areas of your life. So now we intentionally allocate that 30% of masculine energy to the areas we want to access it and in the areas that we need it. So use your masculine energy as the structure and the base of your entire life and plan your softness ahead of time using your masculine energy. Now that is a whole mouthful, but this is what I mean. I, in the evening, set up my day for the next day so that my softness can just come shining. I have my gym clothes right beside my bed, ready to go. I have all my supplements and all the little tea and tonics that I drink every single morning set up the night before. I clean my entire apartment every single night. I take out my cute little outfit the night before so I know exactly what I'm wearing the next day when I come back from the gym. You get yourself out of that frazzled and like, oh my God, chaotic mode of I gotta just pick this. And that's where you just always turn out looking like crap. If you don't prep your softness ahead of time by taking out the clothes, prepping the supplements and the tonics, and doing a wind down routine, this is all allocating your masculine energy, doing it the night before so that in the morning you can show up soft and you just pick up your clothes and you put them on and you go to the gym and you look cute when you come back home because your outfit's already laid out for you. You sip your little tonic. Then we have planning out your dinner menu every single Sunday and meal prepping every single Sunday so you're not stressing about dinner, so you're not frazzled and frustrated about what you're gonna cook tonight and oh my God, this is a chore, I have to cook now. No, because it's already planned out. Every Sunday, bi-weekly, monthly, weekly, you have your maintenance day scheduled that in for yourself. And then we have daily non-negotiables. We're using that 30% of masculine energy to structure and plan the softness so that when the day comes, we don't feel frazzled. We are consistently keeping up with our maintenance because it's scheduled in. Now, I know this can all be overwhelming, but I'm always here for you, so leave a comment down below on how I can help you more. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the screen and like this video. And if you really want to get those emotions regulated, watch this video next.